Namaste, and thank you for watching Soulful Conversations with Madhuri Govindu from across the world. I'm Madhuri, a mental health counseling student in Pennsylvania, USA. I'm a spiritual seeker, a follower of Advaita Vedanta, in which we believe that we all are one consciousness and there are no others. A profound truth revealed by the great soul Ramana Maharishi. I have a very special soul, Anu Mullick, called with me, who is joining us from Florida, USA. She's a spiritual seeker, an aspiring writer. She has inspired thousands of people with her spiritual writings on the social media, including me. She is an Advaita philosopher who believes in how Atma Vichara, self-inquiry, can lead to peeling the layers of the conditioned personal self. For her, every step is home, and the purpose is to enjoy the dance than arriving. So our discussion topic for today is a burning question that has been posed to me by so many people across the world. Why do we suffer? And how to disentangle from thoughts? So Anu, firstly, thank you so much for your precious time, for joining us, and over to you.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here with all of you. And my desire is that whatever comes through is true and clear. And I can answer your questions to the best of my ability.
Absolutely, Anu. So here is the thing, right? We all suffer in one way or the other, and we have suffered. Most of them happen in our head, in our thoughts. So tell us, why are we suffering as humanity, and how can we disentangle from thoughts? So Anu, yeah, you're back.
Sorry.
No problem.
Yes. The cause of suffering is not being okay with what is. The moment you accept what is already happening, the suffering subsides. A trust sets in, a surrender to, call it destiny, fate, that things are unfolding as they should. We no longer manipulate, we just surrender to what is already happening, and we flow. So a tree doesn't question, why are the branches falling off, or why is the tree, turning a certain way. Everything in nature is accepted, and nature is a reflection of us. So we too need to accept all that is happening. We don't question the joys, and we don't say, why did I get so much happiness? But the moment there's suffering, we say, why me? So that's a big question that you have to ask yourself, that, why do you feel that everything has to be wonderful all the time? And realize that it is through the darkness that you appreciate the light, through the sorrows that you can truly be, appreciative of the happy times. So they're hand in hand. They're two sides of the same coin. One must be for the other to sort of become available. If you had happiness your whole life, you would not appreciate it. It would become normal. It would become, taken for granted. And so the sorrows are preparing us for the joy, if we see that while we're in the midst of it. Right, Anu. When we are in that whirlpool, and I'm sorry?
Can you hear me?
Okay, now I can, yes.
Okay, when we are in that whirlpool, Anu, and when we are going through a trauma, divorce, death of a person, Are deadly disease upon us? The thoughts wander and the thoughts make you suffer. And all sorts of drama happens, right?
Yes.
Do you have an advice on how do we disentangle from these thoughts? What should we do to remain balanced in the face of adversity?
Well, it is important to realize that thoughts arise, they persist, and disappear. And so the sages have told us this. And if you look at your own life, you will see that nothing remains. If you have a thought, it is there for a moment, an hour, a day, a week. As much interest you have in this thought, your energy, your interest of attention, that will keep the thought alive. If you pay no mind to it, literally pay no mind to it, it goes away because you bring yourself back to the present moment. You say, no, that's just a thought. But what is happening right now? What is real? What is here? Let me connect to that. And what is happening is missed. And most people miss their whole lives because they're in their head. They're thinking. They're thinking of what was, which is memories. They're thinking of what will be, which is anticipation, neither of which are real. They're just thoughts. And yes, there is real suffering. There is illness. There is, anguish and relationship issues. But the more we give them sata is truth. We give them power. The more real they become in our lives, and we actually are feeding the fears. So it's really important to realize that everything is a thought. You cannot think about anything in the present moment. Realize that. There's nothing to think about. Action flows normally, naturally, spontaneously. And, you're tired, you sleep, you don't think about it. You feel hungry, you get up and eat something. So everything is spontaneous, normal, natural, until the mind gets in the way and says, no, it should be this way, or complains or judges. So these are the qualities of the mind, the attributes of the mind, that it is always functioning from a place of lack, whereas the heart is full, content, joy, compassion, peace, and it needs nothing at all. So when you are functioning from the heart, you become a giver. And it's not little me and poor me and what's happening to me. So the mind is always with a hand out, looking for something, because it's not complete. It's living in fear, worry, and doubt. So although you don't have much choice as to what is going to unfold in your life, you do have this choice of how will you choose, what will be your perspective? Will you be functioning from the mind? Will you see everything from the mind's point of view? Or will you come back to your heart, which is your home? So when you were a child, you didn't have these fears and doubts and judgments, and all of this came later. Analyzing, calculating, cleverness. This is all mind. And
Right.
it separates. The heart creates oneness. The heart knows that we are all one, while as the mind is divisive, and it is the cleverness that divides. So, you always have to take that finger that you're pointing out to the world and saying, well, this person needs to change. And, how come all these people are like this? And turn it around to yourself and say, I'll be that change. And you will be surprised that when you change and you become happy, whole, content, compassionate, loving, those are the vibrations that you're putting out there. And everything starts to change. You be the change, and everything around you changes.
Correct. And Anu, if you can hear me right,
I can.
a question that is quite often posed to me is when you are in the middle of the turmoil, you have clever people around you, you have people who are manipulative, you have people who can be abusive. It all feels as if you need to act. You need to become that manipulative person. You need to become their mirror. If not, how will you survive? You cannot survive if you think about changing yourself and loving everyone, because it's a dog eats a dog world. Maybe is the question that's posed to me. What advice would you have in for them?
Well, it's, again, the mind will say that it's a dog eat dog world, but the heart will say no. Uh, Everything is an aspect of me. So what I'm seeing in the other exists in me. Otherwise, I would not be seeing it.
Correct.
The world is just a reflection of me at any given moment.
Correct.
So when Ramana Maharishi says there is no other, that is what he's saying.
Correct.
So when I've created this peace, and I've cleansed myself of all these thoughts of that I have to protect myself. People are bad out there, and have all this fear, and I worry about tomorrow. When all of that starts to fall away, and you realize that this moment is all there is, why am I worried about 6 months from now? Correct. I may not be alive. Right? So if this moment is all there is, and I can embrace that wholeness and see the light wherever I go, then I'm shining that light. My reflection will be who I am.
Right.
How can you reflect what you are not?
Correct.
So do not find fault with the mirror, with the reflection. See this, is there more inner work that needs to be done?
Correct. And coming to inner work, right, Anu, for those who have just started their spiritual journey, who have just started meditating or understanding that we are not our mind, we are not our body, but we are the one who is witnessing everything. We are absolute consciousness. Those who have just embarked on this path, what advice do you have for them, and where to begin? Because it's in a huge mess. It's like a lotus blooming in mud, but there is mud, and there's a lot of mud. So what would you advise to them?
That there is no mud. That the mud is imagined.
Yes.
Everything that you see is part of the illusion.
Correct.
So walk through it. Do not get entangled in every nuance, in every scene. Just walk through it and say, what is this here to show me? Why is this here? What is it? How is it helping me to evolve? Because that's why it's here.
Correct.
Okay. So if someone has arrogance, they will meet arrogant people, and that is what they need to shed the arrogance. Okay. And if somebody else is, always very miserly and holding on to their money, then perhaps they may lose a lot of money, or, so the lesson is tailor-made for the person. So do not look at the lesson as, oh, this is disrupting my perfect life. Look at the lesson as, this is here for me. And it was staged in my drama, in my play. These are the actors here. They're playing their role to perfection. Who can I argue with and find fault with? When I wrote this play, I wrote this drama. And be very clear about that you have written your story, and you are here to see, why did you write it? So every person that you're meeting, every person that rubs you the wrong way, every person that is kind to you, it's all a part of your own. You've orchestrated this drama. You are the director, the producer. You play every role. And that's important. You play every role.
Right.
So then who do you find fault with?
Correct.
It is exactly, yes.
Sorry, go ahead. Yeah.
No, I'm just saying it's exactly as it should be. Nothing, there are no mistakes. There's nothing wrong.
Correct. Right. And I agree with you. It's just that, Anu, the mind makes it so real. Someone shouting at you, Someone's probably abusing you. Someone's not taking care of you. Someone's not fulfilling their responsibilities. The mind makes it so real, and you become a victim, and you go down that spiral. You go down that, there's a snowball effect. You keep rolling in depression and victimhood and sorrowful thinking and so much more. It becomes very tough for the mind. It becomes very tough for you to understand that it's a mind's play.
I think it's important to see that everything that is happening is here to dissolve the mind.
Right.
How else would the mind be dissolved? If your life was perfect, and there was no complaints, everything is perfect, well, why would you go inward? Why would you try to find out who am I?
Correct.
You would be absolutely entrenched in Maya and in illusion. And that would be your reality. And you have no reason to escape from it because it's beautiful.
Right.
It's only when it becomes difficult, when it gets under your skin, that you're saying, I need a way out. And then when you cannot go out there to sort of alleviate the pain and the suffering, then you have no choice but to turn inward.
Right.
So that's exactly why it's here, to help you to go in and to see, what is real, what is here, what is always here. Despite the sickness comes and goes and the people come into my life and they go, what remains? I am the only thing that remains, the only one that has always been, that will always be, that is always here. So connect to that. And when we connect to people, we suffer. Sometimes it's wonderful, the relationship is great. And when it isn't, then we're depressed. So we're always looking out there for completion. But
Right.
the only completion is within.
Correct.
So this is what it's teaching us, detachment. Pain and suffering teaches us detachment. You come alone, you will go alone. All these supports will leave you.
Right.
Why wait for them to leave you when you can leave them right now and be happy as you are and say, I need nothing at all.
Correct.
The person who says I need nothing at all is God.
Right. Right. Anu, do you think we become a little indifferent and insensitive if we detach from everything? Or do we become more joyful and more in the moment when you do that? What happens?
I think when you detach, the clinging and the possessiveness goes away.
Right.
And when that goes away, you've released yourself from suffering.
Correct.
Now you can actually give freely without any need for return. It's an unconditional love. It's not for just your little nuclear family, but it's for everyone you meet. And that is truly living in oneness.
True. Absolutely. You put it so simply, Anu. You put it really simple. And I think all of us, we need those practical tools, some tips to begin on this journey. Because at some point in time, the whale has to disappear. And for us to see that the whale is a whale, it's an illusion, we have to begin somewhere. What would you advise, Anu, for someone who want to embark on the path of Advaita Vedanta, non-duality? Where should one begin, Anu?
What I learned from my mentor was that, I used to teach meditation as a guided meditation teacher, but I noticed that when you're meditating, you may meditate for an hour or so, you feel wonderful, you're blissing out. And then you open your eyes and somebody says something to you and you're exactly where you were. And the world sort of rushes in. And so it really was just an escape. So I'm not saying don't meditate. It may be wonderful for some, but I found that self-observation works very well. And you sit quietly and try to turn off all your devices. And you're basically, your eyes are open and you're watching your thoughts. You're seeing what is coming up. And you're watching as a drishta. The drishta is the witness, sakshi. And you're seeing that, oh, Anu's having these thoughts. Okay. And there's no entanglement. There's no hooks and interest in the thought, because it is the interest that gives it energy and makes that thought grow. So what you're really doing is looking at it, observing it, and it comes up on the screen of your mind, and you watch it and you let it subside. So, and you'll notice another thought comes up. And so various thoughts are arising, and you are simply watching. And the thing is that you get something, they say there are 30,000 thoughts in a day.
Right.
So this is a cycle of thought that is moving very quickly. Some people, when they sit in the beginning, they can't even catch the thought because it's just kind of spinning so fast. But with practice, you can see your thoughts and you can slow them down. By watching them, they start to go, the gap between the thoughts increases. So that gap widens. And then you will notice that emptiness, that shunya, void, that is the space between thoughts. And here you meet yourself for the first time. And it's just amazing. You can't just really describe what that feeling, what it's like. But because we are so bombarded with thoughts all the time that we don't even know that there is that space in between. And so this is a very good practice to help calm you down, relieve stress, and ultimately to see the truth of who you are. Because you are not your thoughts, you are not your mind, you are not your body, you are not the name you have been given, you are not the religion that you practice. All of those are part of your conditioning. And this is helping you see that, and then you come to a thoughtless, eventually you will come to a thoughtlessness, and you will no longer have to think about what you're going to do or plan. You're just very spontaneous and you're flowing, and you're being breathed. You're being moved to action. Some call it the Tao. There are various names for it. The labels don't matter. It's the essence that one needs to understand.
Correct. And Anu, I'll ask this question to you. When you see people suffering, when you see your kith and kin suffering, or when you see you're not getting the right kind of attention, you sit, you try to watch the thoughts, you see that the thoughts are slowing down, but you snap. When the moment comes, you snap, you react, you're angry, which doesn't leave you. What should we do then? And Anu, I've lost your video.
Yes,
You're
I'm
back
back.
now.
I'm back.
Sure.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, you're good. So I know that's the question. You do everything, you calm, but suddenly there's a sudden reaction that takes over you. And when the moment is over, you sit back and think, did I react like that? Did I just snap at someone? What happens then?
Yes, I think that it's interesting that, with all the work that you've done, inner work, and all that you think you've arrived somehow, and then suddenly somebody will say something and you snap. So that's showing you how much deeper you need to go. Right. How much more inner work is required. And again, there are no mistakes. Therefore, you are not the doer. Therefore, you didn't snap. It was done through you. And it was important to show you that, hey, you can still react like this. And by simply the recognizing, the noticing that I am reacting like this, you're transforming.
Correct.
So you see, there's a difference. There's a person who reacts and does not recognize it and goes on to react again and again. But you now have the power of sitting back and seeing what you're doing and recognizing this behavior and saying, this is not who I am. And the next time, whenever.
Correct. Anu, your video is slightly frozen right now, if you can hear me.
Yeah, not to be reactive, but
Correct.
to respond.
But to respond. So Anu, here is the thing. Sometimes people do cross your healthy boundaries, and it's absolutely fine to be polite but firm and tell them that these are your boundaries and you want your space. It's absolutely fine to do that, right?
Yes, absolutely fine. Because self-preservation is very important.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to be a doormat, because what will happen then? Say your husband is, expecting a lot from you on a daily basis, and and you're exhausted and you can't keep up. So you'll do it for a while. You might do it for years, but then eventually there is resentment within you.
Correct.
And then it'll come out in different ways. So it's always better to say that.
You're
Hello?
good. Yeah, you're good. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's better to. It's always better to speak clearly and say, this is my boundary.
Right.
This is how far you go, and that's husband, children, parents, anybody. You cannot cross this boundary because that's my personal space.
Right.
And this way people will not be taking advantage of you, because if someone is taking advantage of you, it's really you that is allowing it.
Correct.
So it's always about you. You are the source of your experience.
Right.
There's nobody to blame, up there in the sky that somebody's doing this to me. Nobody is doing anything to you.
Correct.
They say guilt demands punishment, and that's so true. If you feel guilty, you yourself will punish yourself, and that probably unconsciously without even realizing it.
Correct.
So you have to drop the guilt and realize that I am not the doer. Everything's happening through me. This is all part of my story. And through this story, I will awaken. It is designed for my ultimate awakening.
Correct.
That's it. And whatever happens along the way cannot be changed.
Right.
Every chapter is written. Just like you can't go to a movie and walk into a theater and you're watching the movie. You can't, like I had mentioned to you before,
Correct.
you can't leave your seat and jump into the screen and say, well, I don't like the way things are. This sofa belongs over here. Or I don't like this person, this actor in the movie. You don't have that choice. You're simply to watch the movie.
Correct.
So watch your own movie, relax into yourself, breathe, just be. All is well. All is always well.
Right.
Tell yourself, keep saying, nothing is wrong in my world. It may not look wonderful, but I will ultimately understand why this happened. And therefore I trust and I surrender to the absolute, infinite God, whatever name you want to call it, to the benevolent force.
Correct. So Anu, if we don't accept the moment as it is, and we keep reacting, we keep pouring anger, we keep resisting, and we keep discarding the mirror, ignoring it, not accepting it, do you think it's a spiral circle? Do you think these lessons continue to appear in front of us in the form of a long bonded karma till we learn the lessons? Is that true?
Yes. The lessons will repeat until the lessons are learned.
Right.
There's no avoiding that. I don't call it karma. Karma implies that you are the doer. It implies that you're being rewarded or punished for past acts.
Correct.
If this moment is all there is, then one must uh, what karma? What karma, and why could I even be punished for something that I don't know?
Right.
For last birth, I don't know what happened.
Hmm.
So it's really, everything is this moment. The rest is thought. It's mind that is creating the past life, the future life. Again, the ego says, how can I disappear?
Right.
How can I not have been in a past life? And if after this life, where will I go? No, I must come back. There must be reincarnation. But the body withers away. The only thing that remains is the true self, Atma.
Right.
Whatever, again, different names. And this has always been there. It's just it's adorning a costume for maybe 100 years or so, and is attached to it is a personality.
Right.
So we're here to work through that personality. It's being polished. It's being, it's being refined. And so our frequency is rising, our vibrations are rising, and this is all happening so that we evolve
Right.
into the beings that we were before we took on this form.
Correct.
So it's a process of refinement. That's it.
That's it. It's so
And
beautiful.
we make it into so much more.
Correct.
And so I think it's just acceptance that there are things that we cannot know, that are beyond the limited mind. But through experience, we are definitely understanding more. And so you rely on your intuition, on wisdom, on instinct, because intellect is not needed here. The mind is not needed.
It's fearful to know, Anu, that we'll lose our mind, because mind as well is a very powerful tool. So the ego gets scared when we talk and say, let's dissolve the mind. You hear what I'm saying? What happens if it disappears? Yeah.
There is the egoic mind, which is the personality, the I, that is being chiseled away, that is being chipped at, okay, through life's experiences. But when that has sort of dissolved, what's left is the pure mind, Chit. Okay,
Right.
And that is a wonderful tool that the self can use. So it's not that the mind is completely it's completely wiped away, but that the mind, the thinking mind, is no longer there. So we don't need that.
Right. Anu, our viewers will have a question on how to differentiate between the mind and the pure mind. How are they both different, Anu?
So the mind is, from what I understand, is the mind that you're born with, right? When you take on form. And so a baby that is 3 weeks old does not have an egoic mind.
Correct.
Okay, so that pure consciousness is there, awareness is there, and that is what is real. Then the conditioning is sort of added on.
Right.
Parental, religious, societal, environmental, all of this conditioning. And so by the time the child is 20 years old, you have all this baggage you're carrying. And then you're saying, oh, I have to drop the baggage. So yes, that is the baggage that has to be dropped so that you can come back to clarity and purity.
Correct. So a mind that doesn't have any baggage, fears, past trauma, future anxiety, a mind that is calm, that sees things as they are without judging, without labeling, without uh, imposing anything on it. That is a pure mind, and that is the mind that we need to live with.
Yes. And it comes with grace. It happens by grace. It's not something you can do.
Correct. Well said, Anu.
But it can happen with one thing is required, and that is a pure burning desire. So when you have a burning desire for this, for awakening, and nothing else,
correct.
When you are consumed with that, then it will happen.
Correct.
But as long as you have interest in the world, in this and that, in what is arising,
correct,
then you can't have both. You either have awakening, or you live in the world, believe it to be true, buy into the illusion, and suffer.
right,
You will suffer, and it's joy, happiness, sorrow, and suffering. You will have both.
correct.
But you remove yourself from that, then there's bliss. And bliss has no opposite.
Right. Right. So living in the world, understanding its function, knowing that it's a mirror, letting the body that you have got when you have come here do its course of actions, do its, like you said, we are not the doers. Let it just witness whatever it's doing. Living in the world, yet we can stay in that blissful state, which doesn't have an opposite, by witnessing these events, isn't it?
I'm sorry, yeah, what is the question?
So the question is, we can stay in the world, but know it's an illusion and still stay in a blissful state, isn't it?
Yes, and that is actually the most, that is the way that is prescribed by the sages.
Correct.
That live in the family life.
Right.
Not give up anything at all.
Correct.
Because there you will be polished and scrubbed, chiseled. That's where it's all happening. If you're sitting on a mountaintop, nothing is happening.
Correct.
So yes, you live in this world, but you are not of the world.
Yes. Very beautifully put.
Thank you. Inside, it's like you have taken sannyas.
Right.
But on the outer level, you're just like everyone else.
Correct.
And this way you flow through your life with ease. And there's harmony, and there's a quiet calm. There may not be that excitement that you had before, but then see, all excitement and high and ecstasy carries with it the depression, the low. So now you're somewhere here in the middle, in Hindi they call it sthirta.
Sthirta, right.
So that balance, and that balance is so wonderful to be in that state. But again, it is not for everybody. Not everyone is ready for that, but everyone will eventually
get there.
Getting there. So the people who are the most suffering, the most upheavals, obstacles, challenges, are the ones that are ready for it now. Because life has given them a reason to go inward. Right. These are blessings. These are your gifts.
Correct.
And it's difficult to see that when you're in the thick of it, that, oh, this is my gift, and I'm in so much pain and I'm suffering. But eventually you do realize that had that not happened, you wouldn't be where you are.
Right. So every step, everything that's happening to you is taking you a step closer to awakening to your true self, so that the illusion goes away.
It's a nice story that a child goes out to play. So that goes out, plays for 4 or 5 hours, and gets very tired, and turns around and says, I'm ready to go home. And so people eventually, they go out into the world and they play and they accumulate and they play some more, and there's ups and there's downs, and eventually they tire and they want to now return. So each instance, each moment, each experience is bringing them back home to the heart.
Correct.
And then when you are really heart-centered, you have an open heart, you feel more, you think less, life is spontaneous, and there's a joy, like you've probably heard of this, a joy that has no reason.
Correct.
And if your joy is because you have a car,
right,
and something happens to your car, then where's your joy?
Right.
So it cannot be because of a reason. It has to be because the joy that is without reason.
Right. How beautiful.
Thank you.
Right. There were so many things that we spoke today that one needs to absorb, maybe slowly, that this is an illusion, this is a play that you have created, everything is your mirror around. And one practice that you gave to all of us is to sit back, wide open your eyes, and watch your thoughts. And slowly the pace of the thoughts will slow down so that you start embracing silence. And these are beautiful gifts to us, Anu, that you have given to us. Right. So that is what I had for you, Anu. Anything that you would like to add for all our viewers? And I promise them that we will have more soulful conversations with different topics. There are a lot of questions that have come our way, and it's our fortune to have you with us so that you can shed some light on all these aspects that really bother us, but we don't find the answers to. Is there a book, Anu, that you would like the viewers to read that can give them a little more insights?
There is The Truth, and
The Truth.
it is the author is, I believe it's Nisarindra Maharaj. Although I would probably have to check on that.
Sure.
I could just let you know about that.
Sure.
And I really feel that experience is far more beneficial. Experience of isness, of oneness, quietude, than gathering more information from books. Books are important in the beginning, yes,
right,
if you want to sort of understand some of the concepts, the basics, but they can be addicting.
Right.
And so yes, I was reading for many years, and then I came to the point where I was saturated, and I found it to be repetitive. No matter which book you go to, it's really saying the same thing.
Agree with you. I'm on the same page.
Yeah. So yes, like you said, some of these people are beginners, and they would benefit from something like that. But we also have so many interesting spiritual pages with so many posts, and sometimes all you really need is a nice one post that's like just kind of wakes you up, and it stays with you all day long.
Right.
And I find that sometimes more powerful than reading through a long book.
A long
Yeah.
book. And I agree with you, because some of your posts on Facebook have done that to me. I recall reading one of your posts. It was midnight. I was about to sleep, and you wrote, "This is your story. You're simply rewinding it." And that is a line that you wrote in an entire post. And that line did stay with me. That
Yeah.
that it's that simple. It's that simple. So what you said is right.
Yes. So this is your story, and you are watching it in rewind because it's already happened. It's
Yes.
like you watch a movie. The movie really is in place, and you are watching the beginning of it, but the ending is already there.
Correct. Correct.
So exactly that way, which is why it's called an unfolding.
Right. Right. Right.
The movie is unfolding. What unfolds is already a whole, a complete. That
Correct.
It's not being written, Paige. Like they say, oh, you're writing your life and you're creating. These are different sort of the way people, they understand from what they know. They understand from what they've been taught. But we have seen that masters and sages from everywhere, not just
Right.
from India, are really agreeing on this, uh, that your destiny is written.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think, Anu, it's very empowering to know that it's your story and you wrote it and these are your characters, because
Yes.
these are my soul lessons. I have written it, and hence I'll accept it. And I'll learn those lessons, stay humble, become egoless. And the sooner I do it,
Yes.
the sooner I am there. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying that we, how wonderful it is to know that our story is tailor made,
Yes.
specifically designed for us, and no other story is like ours, because
Correct.
the lessons that we are learning in our story are exactly expressly what we need.
Right.
So embrace each lesson, embrace each happening, and own it. That this is really what I created for myself,
Correct.
because my higher self knew. My
Right.
higher self knew what Anu needs,
Correct.
or what Madhuri needs.
Correct.
Yeah, and and that higher self is all one,
Right.
right? So we all, that higher self, everybody's higher self is really the same. That is just uh, fragmented,
Right.
right? And from that higher self is different, is variety. We are
Right.
the variety.
Right.
And you know what I'm saying, right? That the one wanted to know itself, and how will it know itself? Except through variety. So each one is unique. Each one offers special gifts, unique talents, and it's all available to you once you can just dig deep within yourself and figure out, what is it that I love to do, and what you love to do is your purpose. As simple as that.
As simple as that. Yes.
So
Wonderful. Absolutely, Anu. Right. And is there a parting message that you have for the viewers till we come sometime next with a new topic and talk about it? Any parting message that you have for them?
I would say just go easy on yourself,
Right.
and give yourself credit that you've come this far,
This far.
and you've handled what life has thrown at you,
Right.
and you will never get more than you're able to handle. Know
Correct.
that.
Correct.
So you are equipped to handle the hurdles of life.
Right.
And this, whatever you're going through right now, this too shall pass.
Correct. Correct.
And everything is waiting for you. My
Absolutely.
favorite poem from David White, everything is waiting for you,
Waiting for you.
for your presence.
Right. Thank you so much, Anu. Thank you so much for such an enlightening conversation.
Thank you so much.
And I would like to personally thank all our viewers for all your love and support. You have been reading my posts, Anu's posts, for a very long time. And this was a long pending request that we were fortunate to fulfill today. It was done through us. This was the first soulful conversation in this series. Anu and I will share more in the next videos. And I promise to bring to you many more soulful conversations that will help you start living in the moment. So if you wish to watch more of us, please follow Anu's page, Self Inquiry and Direct Experience, and my page, Sacred Journey Within, on Facebook. And Anu, once again, thank you so much for
Thank you.
everything that you have shared today, for everything that you have told. And viewers, till we meet next time, stay safe, stay at home, wear your masks, and live in the moment. Thank you. Namaste.